Hey there Internet, and welcome back to the channel. It's Colin here from Cascade Juggling, and today we're going to take a deeper look at some switchback variations in part 5 of our beginner poi juggling series. Before we get started on learning any of these switchback variations, you're going to have the base pattern down. If you're still having issues with that or just want a bit more time, we have some tips in the last video. So go check that out, and once you're ready, come back here and we'll get started. The first variation we're going to do today is one I like to think of as the head handle swap. The way this is going to work is as you're running your switchback pattern normally, you're going to tend to take one of the poi as it's coming up. I'm going to go to the opposite hand. It's going to be caught by the head. The switchback is then going to complete with the poi held by the head, releasing the other one out. Once it's left on its own in the offhand, you're going to then pop it back out and be ready to reset for the next one. One thing that you might have issue with here is being able to catch one poi by the head while still holding your second poi in a useful position that you can get spin and control on it while it's in the switchback. A couple of things that are going to help you for this. First of all is the type of handles you use. I've got these 3D printed ones that have a nice little divot at the top of it. This is great because it kind of gives the ball something to like sit on or sit in. As you can see, you can almost even like balance it here a little bit. If you have the ball style handles, this might be a little bit harder, but it's not impossible, so you're just going to have to find a position that works it for your hand. The grip I am using for this is I'm holding one poi between my first finger and my middle finger. You don't want it up by your knuckles or like the palm of your hand, because it's going to give you a bit more space for catching the other one if you try and have it right at the end of your fingers. So as long as you're still able to like control it here, this is going to be ideal. For catching the poi coming in, I like to try and get it between my pinky and my thumb. This leaves a lot of space between the head of this poi and the handle of the other one, and you get that nice separation there. So you got plenty of space to control one of them and not get them tangled as you're trying to do the next part of the switchback. One thing that is going to make a bit of a difference is the size of your poi heads. I like to use the 90mm poi heads here. This is because I like to do a lot of head catches, and actually with the 90s I can comfortably hold two in one hand here. If you're using 100s, this is still totally doable. It's going to be a little more awkward, especially if you don't have big hands. So one thing to consider is if you're really struggling and you're really not able to like do this, maybe try it with a slightly smaller poi head and see how that goes. We're going to start off here with what the switchback itself is doing for this pattern. So I have two different colored poi. I have my orange poi, which is the poi that's coming in and going to be caught by the head. And then we have the blue poi, which is the one that's currently in the hand and is going to do the switchback itself. The way we're going to start this is you're going to start them same time, same direction. I think just going from like pendulums either side is actually probably the best way to think about this to begin with. So when you pendulum out to the side, so the blue one is extended out and the orange one is coming across your body, you're going to catch the orange one as the blue one pendulums back. It's going to do a spin and then get released off to the other side. This leaves you with the orange poi held by the head in the hand that has just done the switchback. To reset it and move on for the next side, you're going to pop this just down to the inside of your body until you catch the handle. And that's you ready to go for the next setup. Before moving on to doing this with 3 poi, I recommend that you spend the time to practice this individually with both hands. So having the head catch happen in the left hand and the head catch happen in the right hand. Once you've got both of these down, you're pretty much ready to move on to 3. For running this with 3, probably one thing you're going to struggle with at the start is getting the timing all right for it. So the one I like to think about is when you're popping the poi to the inside of your body, the pop's going to line up really well with the switchback on the other side, and it's going to feel very like same time, same direction. The pop and the switchback happen at the same time, and it's just going to alternate back and forth there. One thing you can do to make this easier on yourself at the start is you don't have to go and try and run it continuously. You can put one of these head handle swaps into the normal switchback pattern, and for the most part it will maintain its timing. You might have to fudge it a little bit and slow down the other side, but you're still gonna have enough time to throw one single head handle variation in here and then go back to the basic pattern. One interesting thing you can play with this is the direction that you pop the poi in once you have done the head catch. The one that goes in towards the center of your body is the easiest here because it keeps timing really nicely with the hand that's doing the switchback. However, you can kind of pop it in any direction. Be aware, this will change the timing of the whole pattern. One of my favorites here is popping to the outside. But you can also pop it like straight up. One of my favorite things to do with this head handle variation is once you've got it down, you can use all of the parts where it goes from the head back to the handle as an active 2. So if you know sight swap at all, the sight swap for this switchback is 4x222, which, yeah, it means you've got plenty of space there for doing all sorts of funky body throws and other variations on it. Some of my favorites are throwing over the arm with it. You can throw under the leg, or even over the leg, depending on what side you want to go from. You can go behind the back, you can go behind the neck. Possibilities are endless. That's it for the video today, folks. I hope you found this useful. If you have any further questions, leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, why not hit subscribe, and then you'll be notified when the next part of our beginner poi juggling series comes out, which is going to be a slight difference actually, because we're not going to do any juggling in the next one. We're going to look at some 3 poi spinning. So, see you soon.